I am an American Celt. With me is Tara Sin and Queen. I don't
The
remember the
Dick
rest of your
Docs.
name. Queenie the Dick Doctor.
Yep.
Hey,
The
Scooby!
Jojo!
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yay!
It's funny when my brother went on air. The first thing he says is, "Hey Scooby, where are you?"
And that
Sorry.
was just a few seconds ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was dragging my feet. I had a couple things I was doing. Sorry.
Okay.
So, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing
Okay.
okay.
Pretty good.
Getting ready
After
to
listening to that
chill this
accent.
out.
Hmm.
What are you gonna do, Tara?
Chill out this YouTube link.
Oh, okay. How are you doing, Scoob?
All right. Nothing worth talking about. No one wants to listen. That's a good thing.
Oh, stop
So,
it! It just
I'm the
happens
adorable
that we
one.
and
So,
life gets in the way.
American Count, about those vegan
Uh-huh.
toppings from Pizza Hut. So, like, were they cow's milk or were they soy milk or they just said milk?
I don't know. The
It,
headline says that he had an issue with the toppings, but as far as I can tell, it's the ice cream itself.
well, being as milk is or ice cream is made from milk,
Right.
generally cow's milk. Moo moo. The grown up version of the slab of meat that I have in the freezer. Um, yeah, they tend to get mad about that, even if it's goat's milk or shit like that.
I don't understand why vegans are the way that they are.
Because they have a holier than thou mental disorder.
It's like animals were put on this earth to eat. If you want to go the biblical route, I mean, I can sure show you in Exodus and Genesis where, God put, animals on this earth to eat.
Hey, he also gave us weed to smoke, taketh of the herb.
Exactly.
You know what we need to do that would solve the vegan issue?
The vegans.
Prove that plants feel pain. They will starve
Oh
themselves.
no, it's already been proven.
Yeah, they
Time
do.
and time again, they deny it. The mimosa tree, there's an abundance of them in Florida. You take a lighter to it, and its leaves fold up. They're like, oh, that's just a chemical reaction. No, bitch,
No.
it's feeling pain. That smell of fresh cut grass, that's grass screaming in agony.
Yeah. The same thing with when you cut an onion. You're cutting the membrane and it feels like that's a defense mechanism. That's what makes you cry. It releases a chemical.
Mm-hmm.
But
They would need to find some kind of proof that even the vegans would see it.
No, I have shown these bastards proof when I was in a Facebook group with them called Vegans versus Meat Eaters.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed them a video that shows, and they did, electrical stimulus tests on different plants and showed that they feel pain. And they're like, oh, that's fake.
But what vegans don't understand is obviously that even plants is a living organism. They have a nucleus, they have cells, they have everything. So the same thing that we have when we feel pain, so do fucking plants. God, vegans are so fucking stupid. Like they're up there with fucking flat earthers. There is no fucking winning with them.
Yeah, put a flat earther in a ship and tell them to look out the window like, huh, this is some impressive CGI.
Oh man.
Yeah, you put them in a fucking rocket ship and send them off into space. wow, you guys are really great with this simulator, and then they open the door and get sucked out.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, that was
But my
I feel like
best solution is
they would still
vegans.
die believing that this is a really well-made simulation.
Well, it's like what's that rapper's name? I think it's B.O.B. Uh, he's asking for $1 million, um, so he can build a rocket and send it up into
Oh, another
space.
one of those guys.
Yeah, and rockets cost like fucking hundreds of millions of dollars.
Mhm.
But once it gets up there, look, you don't have to ask for $1 million. All you gotta do is get a GoPro camera, make a weather balloon. It will float up to in the outer space.
No, they just got to go to the edge of the Earth and show us the ice wall.
And that's the thing, you can't go to the end of the Earth. We're held down by gravity.
No, but it's like he's like a dumb blonde girl in that joke. How do you keep her busy? Put her in a round room and tell her to find a corner. Put a flat earther on a round world and tell him to find the ice wall.
How do you drown a blonde? Put a scratch sniff at the bottom of the pool.
Huh?
I said, how do you drown a blonde? Put a scratch and sniff at the bottom of a pool.
It's too funny.
What does a blonde say after having multiple orgasms? Are you all on the same team?
Let's see if I can find that APA article.
So speaking of STDs, chocolate caramel candies may be contaminated with hepatitis A, FDA warns. Certain candies made by a company in Kentucky could be contaminated with hepatitis A, a highly contagious infection that typically affects the liver, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration said in a recent warnings to consumers. Bowers candies, chocolate or caramel majiscas, marshmallows candies dipped in chocolate or caramel, the FDA said are subject to the warning. The FDA is advising consumers not to eat and to throw away any Bowers candies purchased after November 14, 2018, because a worker in the facility tested positive for hepatitis A.
Well, I don't know what kind of candy or who this candy was made by, but my mom bought a bunch from the Dollar Tree, and it was chocolate covered and with caramel in there. So, well, I've had my hepatitis A shot, so I don't have to worry. I had that years ago. Back in elementary school, they sent a paper home saying, we're going to vaccinate your kids for hepatitis A, B, and C. That was back in 6th grade.
The FDA noted neither it nor the Center for Disease Control and Prevention have received any reports of illness associated with the candies at this time. The FDA is working with Bowers Candies on a voluntary recall, adding the candies were primarily sold through QVC and the company's website. While the risk of contracting hepatitis A is low, the FDA advised consumers who purchase the affected candies to consult a doctor, especially if they are not vaccinated against hepatitis A. The liver infection is caused by the hepatitis A virus, according to the CDC. The virus typically spreads when a person eats or drinks something contaminated by a small, undetected amounts of stool from an infected person, the health agency explained.
It doesn't have to be just stool. It could be bodily fluids or blood or anything.
Well, that's what the article said. So I read what the article said.
All right. NASA refused to change the name of mini-planet Ultima Thule despite its link to the Nazis.
Oh, God.
Well, Thule predates the Nazis. The Nazis just took part of it.
But hey, NASA refused to change it.
I'm waiting for them to outlaw German. That's. I'm sure that's going to be on the list. I mean, look, they've already made it.
They're going to outlaw me being able to see Kyle.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to outlaw the Germans. That's why they're bringing in all those refugees to replace the population.
Part of what the thing is because the past, I think, 2 generations of Europeans had half the first, out of the past 2 generations, the first one had half as many kids as the generation before it, and then the generation after them, in turn, had half as many kids. So there's like maybe 25% of the population that there was 100 years ago. Like Europe's population, like drastically got cut. I guess it was after the war. People didn't want to have families as much because you lose your whole family in the war, and then there's another world war like a generation afterwards, and everyone gets lost again.
Well, also
and we're probably teetering on a third world war.
Yeah.
In America is that we're wanting to focus on careers and schooling and stuff like that, because not getting pregnant as young.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? I think what a lot of people don't realize is, and this is what the problem is, we did the rebuilding in Europe. We were over there. A lot of people don't realize we were in we occupied Germany until I think about 47 or 49. I forget which. The country was occupied. And then we just said, fuck it, threw our hands up and left because that's when the communists started to come in and they were too much to deal with. But the rest of Europe, America rebuilt all the way up until the 70s. I think like the late 60s, early 70s is when we were finally pulling everybody out, like with the construction. I mean, we still had our bases there. But this is the thing. You had a whole generation of people growing up for 20, 30 years over in Europe where America was over there building everything for them, providing everything for them. And so they grew up to be a bunch of lazy pricks. And then you had the kids over here, these elite larvae, these little swine that grew up and are running around now as SJWs. And so what they did was they wanted to not be backwards Americans. They wanted to be sophisticated by the Europe, but you see, like the Europeans. But you see, the problem is the Europeans for the past 50 some odd years, longer now, it's going on near 80 years since World War II. Europe has been now 2 to 3 generations of fucking eunuchs. For the most part, they're a bunch of ballless people because of becoming so dependent and reliant on NATO and the United States. Now, hey, I love how these kids like to say hashtag in front of everything. And fucking hashtag not all. Not all Europeans are like that, but the majority of them are like that because they got demilitarized. They got basically put on the sidelines. Like, here you go, here, have a sandwich, go sit in the bleachers, don't hurt nobody. We're fixing shit. And that's the reason that Europe has developed the culture that it had over the past X amount of generations. And this country, in turn, tries to adopt the European model. So what our kids are trying to act like in this country are the lazy Europeans we created because we fixed the country that they blew up because they had to just go shoot at each other for fucking 10 years straight. That's basically what the problem is in Europe, is they're a bunch of bourgeois cultural fops that were created because honestly, we should have said fuck you to Europe. We got the Nazis to stop, rebuild your own shit, and we should have concentrated on this country. We wouldn't have the mess of having a bunch of codependent fucking retards over there that we have now. And in turn, the kids in this country are trying to be sophisticated by like the Europeans. So what are they doing? They're not bathing. They let their hygiene go to shit. And every guy I go out now and I see has a fucking 3-foot beard that looks like it reeks of cheese and hasn't been washed because they're trying to be like Europeans. They can take that European culture and shove it up their ass. I'm second generation American and proud.
That is true. And then they just have this generation now just has a sense like they're entitled to everything. Gimme, 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 gimme. Nah, you have to fucking work for it.
So Kelt wants me to read a APA thing. And then I have something else to read. Let me see how long this fucking article is. No, I'm not reading this entire fucking thing. APA issues first ever guidelines for practice with men and boys. At first blush, this may seem unnecessary. For decades, psychology focused on men, particularly white men, to the exclusion of all others, and men still dominate professionally and politically. As of 2018, 95.2% of chief operating officers at Fortune 500 companies were men, according to a 2017 analysis by Fortune. In 16 of the top companies, 80% of all high-ranking executives were male. Meanwhile, the 115th Congress, which began in 2017, was 81% male. I'm going to post the link to this in the chat. But essentially what this thing is saying is that the APA wants to treat masculinity as a mental issue.
That doesn't surprise me. I think I told you they said they offer therapy for children who grew up in a military household.
There's seriously nothing wrong with that.
You know, this is one of the main reasons I'm really glad that all the leftists are on the West Coast. Because when the Chinese invade, that's who they're going to mow down and cut through to get to the rest of us. So,
Did New York move?
no, New York's on the East Coast.
Yeah.
When the Chinese invade, they're going to be coming from the West.
Yeah, but aren't there a lot of leftists in New York?
Yeah, that's fine, but I'm just saying. Look at it this way: the West Coast, it's the entire coast. New York is just New York. You could basically just put a wall around my city, like in Escape from New York, and just stop letting them have food.
We could probably fuck around the was San Andreas Fault to get rid of California.
Oh, that's going to happen anyway.
But the San Andreas fault line runs from Baja, Mexico, all the way up to.
Haven't you ever seen Escape from LA?
Is that the guy with the eye patch?
It's the sequel to Escape from New York. It's got Snake Plissken.
I've seen parts of them.
Yeah, you need to watch all of them. Of each one. That's what those fucking Metal Gear games are based off of.
Yeah, I think I heard about that.
Yeah, when they didn't have Snake having an eye patch, I was like, this is bullshit. But the games are supposed to happen before the Escape movies. Which is a crock of shit. So speaking of sexism, CES 2019 award-winning sex toy for women withdrawn from show. And I can't tell if it looks like it'd be fun or not. I'm not sure if I could show it on air.
I don't know if I want to know.
A sex toy designed for women has been banned from the technology show. Laura DiCarlo said it had been invited to display its robotic OC vibrator at CES after winning an innovation award. CES organizer, the Consumer Technology Association, which granted the award, said it had included the device by mistake and could withdraw any immoral or obscene entry at any time. DiCarlo, chief executive, Laura Haddock, said the CES and the CTA had a history of gender bias. The statement to the Next Web, the CTA said, the product does not fit into any of our existing product categories and should not have been accepted. We have apologized to the company for our mistake. But in a statement on the Laura DiCarlo website, Ms. Haddock cites several examples of other female-oriented products, including an award-winning category the vibrator was in. 2 robotic vacuum cleaners, 1 robotic skateboard, 4 children's toys, 1 shopping companion robot. Looks like all of the women's interests were covered, right? She said. OC clearly fits the robotic and drone category, and the CTA's own expert judges agree. The product had been designed in partnership with a robotics laboratory in Oregon State University and had 8 patents pending for robotics, biomimicry, and engineering feats. We firmly believe that women, non-binary, gender non-conforming, and LGBTQI folks should be vocally claiming our space in pleasure and tech. Ms. Haddock said that there was a double standard at CES when it came to the sexual health products targeted at men versus women. Men's sexuality is allowed to be explicit with literal sex robots in the shape of an unrealistic proportioned woman and VR porn in point of pride along the aisle. The products she's referring to are the Real Doll sex robot Harmony, which debuted at last year's event, and a room showcasing virtual reality porn off the main conference in 2017. The VR porn room was reportedly visited more than 1,000 times in its first day of opening. This year, an unofficial shuttle bus is taking people from the conference site to a legal brothel for a sex video experience controlled by an Amazon Echo speaker. Twitter users have reacted to this decision using the hashtag CES gender bias. Why is CES threatened by empowering women and products that empower them? CES is literally one big sex toy for men, and that's always been okay. So, I kind of agree that it's wrong to include sex toys that are generated towards men and not the ones towards women.
And this is in the UK?
In conjunction, it's worldwide, that event. People from all over the world go to it. Wow, dead air. All right, let's
see.
I see. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Exactly.
So we got a guy who was found not guilty in court of sexual assault, but his school still expelled him.
Yeah, I just scrolled past that one.
Man allegedly killed his brother with a 4-foot sword because he thought he was the lizard man. And this is not a Florida man either.
Well, I'm reading the first sentence of this story about the guy that was found not guilty of sexual assault. And to be quite honest, the school can expel him for whatever reason. I mean, they can try and sue, but
he's most likely going to win.
No, that's not necessarily true.
A lot of guys have won lawsuits over that.
And they probably had lots and lots of money. But the fact is that when you sign your paperwork to join whatever college or school, in it states they can expel you for whatever reason they desire. Although it does have to be a legitimate reason.
Exactly. And that's probably how they lost.
Just an accusation can be a legitimate reason.
The men who identify as women are being invited for cervical smear tests.
I'm not reading that. That's just stupid.
Men that identify as women are being For a cervical test? Let's
Yeah,
see.
invite to it. But
Oh,
women who
okay.
identify as men are not getting breast exams or something else.
Okay.
Well, the women who are identifying as men are most likely getting their tits cut off, so who cares?
Okay. Let's see if I can break it down for men who identify as women. Your DNA is not XX. Okay. You do not have a cervix. You do not have no female reproductive organs whatsoever. I don't care. You can sit there and identify as a woman all day long, mutilate your body, do whatever makes you happy. But at the end of the day, DNA does not lie. Chromosomes do not lie. Nothing. You do not have a female reproductive organ. So, yeah. That's just fucking just beyond fucking retarded. Oh God, what is this world coming to?
Women who identify as men are not coming in for cervical cancer checks.
Waste of money, waste of time.
Waste of life.
Yeah. If I was a doctor and I had people coming in and they were identifying as women and they were men, oh, I would fuck with them. Congratulations, madam, you're pregnant. Go get a second opinion. That's all.
I'll schedule you for a C-section.
The sad thing is I have friends who are trans. I can sympathize with people who are actually trans. But a lot of these people, I hate saying it, it's like this year's hula hoop, or this year, like it's this year's bell bottoms. It's kind of macabre that, this is what they're doing now, is they're going to be doing this transgender thing. I'm curious if those that actually do have the capacity to reproduce left in them, when they finally have children of their own in the next, let's say we'll give it 20 years from now, 2039. I'm curious if the kids who are going to be coming up, if they're going to be interested in the trans species movement. Are we going to have like lizard kids running around, or kids who think that they're hornets and shit? And they want.
I identify as Vulcan.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Are we going to have kids who are like, going to be petitioning that they have the right to get webbing put between their fingers and, like have their tongue forked and shit of that nature? I mean, am I going to have to sit here and deal with this shit? When did
when slicing becomes possible?
Yes, that's what I'm driving at. I'm saying, are we going to have them doing crazy shit like that? I mean, look, we started the whole thing with sex changes and things like that to really deal with gender dysphoria, because there are people who actually are convinced they're in the wrong body. I can completely sympathize. I have a good friend who is gender dysphoric. I knew him for about a good 20 years when he was she. Now she is he. It's a little freaky, but you deal with it because you know the person and you want to be their friend. And the weird thing is this person is actually dating a girl that used to have a thing for me. So kind of blew my mind, but all right. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things like, but that's a legitimate case of gender dysphoria. I can't respect these kids who were completely fine their entire life, and in the past 5-6 years, because Obama's second term, he decided he was going to pander, and the left decided this is their new hot button topic because they were running out of shit to platform on. I don't like that it's now because it's the cool thing. When I was a teenager, everyone wanted a pair of Nike Air Force Ones. Now, apparently, all the girls want a penis. I mean, the shit that these people do, that's the whole point of it. They treat it with such triviality. That's the reason again, it's not the trans community I got a problem with. It's these fake trans wannabe punks. I don't like these
girls do
kids.
want penis, just not on them.
Yeah. I want them in me, not like I don't want one. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just it takes away from it. It's like I remember it was the thing, the big thing to be cool when you were in the 90s. I remember this, and they talk about these Democrats with their crazy social engineering. The Democrats were actually trying to convince us in the 90s that it was cool to be poor, that if you're black and you don't go to jail, you're not keeping it real. They had all this crazy shit they were trying to teach us. I remember in the 80s when I was a kid, they were telling kids, ignore your parents and don't eat your vegetables. Like in all the cartoons, they always had like all the bad kids were always, they were constantly eating candy. The cool kids, they were never eating their vegetables. They were never doing their homework. They were always playing hooky from school. They have been showing my entire childhood, these disgusting Dems, they've been showing nothing but shit that has turned our society into a cesspool.
Yeah.
And I really, really feel bad that their latest target in the past 5 years now has been the trans community. These people don't bother people normally, and now they've injected their hyperbolic nonsense and these fucking crazy people into the trans community. I hear people complain all the time about the trans things and gender bathrooms and this and that, and I tell them, I say, you find somebody who's in their 30s who's trans, I guarantee you they're going to agree with you more than the young people pushing this shit.
Oh yeah, that was a big thing here in North Carolina. The House bill, the bathrooms and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
like we lost a lot of business here because a lot of people didn't want, those where men that identify as women are able to use the women's bathroom as well as men or women that identify as men use the men's restroom.
Oh, like there is.
But they finally passed it. They finally came to an agreement.
There is no more male and female in New York.
Then why do they call it LGBT and B stands for bisexual and bi means two?
Oh, I'm pretty sure
they haven't gotten rid of the B.
They're trying to get rid of the B because
and add a P for pedo.
No. P for poly, because they found that bisexual, you're confined to gender.
Two.
Yes, exactly.
But the LGBT was trying to add P for pedo as well.
Right, but they said they're not going to do that. They're trying. I've heard people talking, that they're trying to put in P for poly. And my thing I say to them is, well, pedo's a poly too. Mm-hmm. You see, that's what happened when you open that poly Pandora's box. You can't do that. Oh, I like to hang around poly people. Oh, well, what's poly? Oh, poly is anything goes. Oh, okay. Oh, really? Okay. You see this guy over here? This is Earl. Earl is a kitty diddler. I want you to meet Earl. He's one of your crew now since you're in poly. Here you go, Earl. Go hang out with the poly people. Well, we don't want him here. Well, you said you're poly. Anything goes. Mm-hmm. There you go. That's why I don't like whenever somebody tells me that they're poly, the first thing I think of when I hear that is, okay, you diddle children and rape old women. You're one of those guys who'll break into an apartment and rape a 90-year-old woman. You poly fuck. Because I hate saying it, the ones who rape the old women are usually the ones in jail that are cleaning everyone's pipes. So.
Yeah.
It'd be better for them to say pansexual.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. I'm mixing them up. Poly and pan. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like, what happened to pan?
Well, you know what it is? You get polyamorous. I think that just means you love everything that walks. And pansexual means that
polyamorous means you are capable of loving more than one person at a time to the same degree as the other.
Yeah, and then pansexual is the one that you'll screw anything that walks.
Pretty much.
Yeah. See, sorry, if the folks in the community who I may have offended because I mixed up poly and pan. You see, this is the thing that annoys me. You got all this shit. It's like when I go to try to pick up a fucking thing of coffee, or if I try to pick up a thing of tomato sauce. You know what I like? I'd like to go in, it's coffee, regular or decaf, and tomato sauce. You got red and you got white, and that's it. No, I go in and it's a fucking bonanza. You can't. Okay, you want coffee? Which brand? Okay, you narrow it down to a brand. Now you just got to go through the 19 different flavors. That's Dennis Leary. He made a skit about this. The sad thing is, I'm not trying to steal his material. I'm genuinely pissed off. I hate I used to enjoy going to the supermarket. Now you're sitting there and it's like, my God, I'm in battle the entire time I'm in there. Like, you want to? Okay, you want to go in and try to get coffee, try to get half and half, and try to get sugar. They actually got flavored sugar now. They got the honey sugar, they got cinnamon flavor to it. They got the
Oh yeah,
extract.
they had all that type of sugar at the hotel in DC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Did they
What
have
the
full
fuck?
sugar and it's just salt?
Yeah, like I should not have to sit there and need spreadsheets to make a cup of coffee. Like I shouldn't have to, okay, I'm going to be using this flavor sugar and this flavor milk and this flavor coffee. Or do I want to try a different combination? I've done that before where I've worked at places and like I had a boss and I loved working with this man because we went into a coffee shop and the guy goes like, and he goes to the girl. He's like, okay, I'd like a cup of coffee. She goes, what flavor? He goes, excuse me, what flavor coffee? He goes, regular. And so she goes, it wasn't a Starbucks. It was a different one. And
Did
she
the
goes like this.
NPC
She goes,
crash?
huh?
Did the NPC crash when you said regular?
You know, she said, okay, regular what? She said, we have, I think she said we have like 50 different varieties of coffee. And he said, okay, do you have the one that's not flavored with anything? She said, I don't think we have that. So we left. Went across the street to 7-Eleven. I told him, I said, look, you don't have to try to impress any of us. I said, you got the road crew here. Yeah, it was a new supervisor we had, and he was trying to be nice. I said, we don't like going to fancy places like that. I said, haven't you noticed we're all wearing vests and coveralls? I said, as long as that, like the food is not like biting at us when we're trying to eat. I said, and there's not like, fingernails or shit in the coffee, we're good. I said, as long as the place is clean, you don't got to try to impress us. So we went across the street to 7-Eleven and got coffee. It's better anyway.
Well, speaking of male testosterone, transitional masculinity causes homophobia and bullying.
Yeah, they're talking about the APA.
Put down the toy tools, baseball bats, and G.I. Joes. Men and boys, you're bad. At least according to the American Psychological Association in its new guidelines for the psychological practice with boys and men regarding so-called traditional masculinity.
They're a bunch of quacks anyway.
The APA calls it harmful and says it could lead to homophobia and sexual harassment.
Huh. That's really funny because most of the star athletes I knew and the guys who went into the service and the guys who became cops, about as queer as a $3 bill. Seriously.
The main thrust of the subsequent research is that traditional masculinity, marked by stoicism, competitiveness, dominance, and aggression, is on the whole harmful. The organization said in a news release.
Horse feathers.
This is what it boils down to. They're trying to turn the men into women and the women into men. That's exactly what it boils down to.
It goes on to reveal that traditional masculinity is psychologically harmful and that socializing boys to suppress their emotions causes damage that echoes both inwardly and outwardly. Now, I'd like to say that, yeah, there are parents that are like, boys don't cry. Matter of fact, my brother's aunt, Robin, actually flat out said that to him after our father died when he wanted to cry. And I looked at her. I told her to fuck off. I looked at my brother and I said, it's okay to cry. Daddy would be okay with it. And so he started crying.
I don't remember this.
No, you don't, but that's exactly what happened.
I've seen my dad cry twice in his life. That's when his mama died and when his daddy died. Other than that, I've never seen my dad cry.
The APA research also coins the term masculinity ideology, which it says hurts men and boys. Traditional masculinity ideology has been shown to limit males' psychological development, constrain their behavior, result in gender role strain and gender role conflict, and negatively influence mental health and physical health. What a crock of shit.
Yeah, they're a bunch of
You know what they're trying to do, and a lot of people don't realize it, and it's working, which this just goes to show you. My hat is off to those Soviets. Because what they did is, this is the program that they came up with. They're convincing the men to be pansies, and they're convincing the women to be butches. And the reasoning for this is they literally want they're trying to get it where within the next 10 years, maybe not even 10 years from now, within the next 10 years, the goal was to get it where the military shifts to more female soldiers because they're easier to defeat. Now, I know that's going to sound horrible to say, but I mean, statistically speaking, there's just usually when you see soldiers, they're not exactly, runts. They tend to be big, strapping lads. These women soldiers, on the other hand, whenever I go past them, they're some of the most small and petite women I've ever seen. I've never seen a woman soldier who looked like she would give me a hard time. I mean,
I've actually seen a couple.
But just remember, Dynamite comes in all packages. You can't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm also a 6'2", 230-pound man. I mean, some of these women I've seen, I got at least 14 inches in height on them and well over 100 pounds. I don't give a shit how much dynamite there is. I pick them up by their ankles, stick them in the garbage can, they're done. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not trying to detract from them. I'm sure they're tough as hell, but you get somebody who's my size, especially let's say they got an enemy soldier and they hop this bastard up on some amphetamines, he'll tear that poor thing in half if he gets his hands on her. I mean, look, like I said, I just stated how big I am. I had my friend, Domain. He was about 7'4" and well close to the 400 mark if he wasn't over it. And there was a concert going on, and there was like a mosh pit. And everyone's in the pit, and I hop in, we're all screwing around, and Domain comes in and picks me up by my chest and hurls me across the bar like a dodgeball, and everyone's like, holy shit. And he comes running over, he's like, you were right. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get that much oomph into it. I'm like, no, I'm cool. But my point is, this man who was 12 inches taller than me, a full foot and 14 inches, he was a foot and change taller than me and had well over 100 pounds on me, picked me up and threw me across the bar by about, at least, without an exaggeration, well over 20 feet. I went across the bar. So,
bam.
And I, at the time, I was probably about 275 pounds because I was still weightlifting. So think about that. A nearly 300-pound man, he picked me up and threw me like a softball because he had just enough size and muscle mass to do it. So my thing is, I'm not detracting against them on sexism. I'd say the same thing if you hired a bunch of midget soldiers. I'd say, look, I'm rock on. You're trying to give these guys an opportunity. They're going to get punt kicked if they run into a big enough opponent, and that's part of the reason that I think they've been trying to get everything to switch around is because the women soldiers are easier to defeat. I'm sure if you ran into somebody like that big dyke lesbian in the beginning of the Boondock Saints, she looks like she could easily rip 2 or 3 American soldiers in half, never mind the Chinese soldiers. I mean, Christ, we get a platoon of them, they'll probably tear through an entire Chinese flotilla without even friggin' batting an eye, But, again, that's part of what I think their goal was to try to get the gender roles to switch to make it a more easy-to-defeat army. Now, this is not me knocking the tenacity of these women. Believe me, I have 5 sisters, and I'd much rather actually run into men in battle than women because women are fucking vicious. I'm the first one to say it. No, I would much rather deal with men. Men are not as cruel. Men are not as cruel as women. Women are much more vicious and much more cruel. If you've got a woman and she is a patriot, she is a nationalist, and she is in the military, and you're in another uniform, you are fucked. Seriously. If you ever watch any of these movies, whenever they show a sci-fi apocalypse movie, it's always some hot chick with a big scar on the side of her face that's shooting everybody at the drop of a hat. Everyone's afraid of her.
What's the name of that chick that's in Resident Evil and she plays the girlfriend?
Mila Djokovic?
Yeah, no, not Mila.
Michelle Rodriguez?
Yes.
Yeah, she plays Rain
She's one of the ones you don't want to fuck with.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I would love to, but I'm married.
She actually goes both ways. She's actually bisexual.
My wife would probably skin me and her if I brought it up. No, she's not.
She is hot. Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez is hot.
You know what it is? It's the personality more than anything. that's the thing that I find very, very attractive. It's not detracting from her. It's not that I don't think she's attractive. I think she is actually very pretty. But it's her personality is what's much more attractive to me.
And I
I
think
like,
she is trained. I think she's a black belt too.
yeah.
Hey, man.
And again, I'm not detracting from her, but I'm telling you, as somebody who bounced at the bar and had many female kickboxing enthusiasts who are feminists decide that they're going to snap kick me in the face because I don't want to take their ID. You know how many of these feminists I've gotten assaulted by over the years? I tell you this much, and I've said this honestly. I had this one big ginger broad one. She hauled off and she snap kicked me in the face. I grabbed her by the ankle and under the knee, and I slammed her up against the wall. Rolling around on the floor, and my friends were like, "What did you do?" I said, "I just defended myself." I said, "Your friend just hauled off and kicked me in the face." "You can't do that. She's a woman." I said, "She just fucking snap kicked me." I said, "You
Look,
see how tall I am?" I said, "She kicked the hat off of my head."
look. If you will, all right, women. I'm gonna tell you this one time and one time only.
Mm-hmm.
If you step to a man and you start drop kicking him or whatever, hitting him, that man deserves every right to fucking hit you back. Because if you want to act like a man, we're gonna get you. You're gonna get treated like a man. That's just how I see it.
Yeah. Well, you know what it was? She was like one of those tall, skinny drinks of water. I'm trying to think. Elizabeth Berkley. She was tall and skinny like her.
Mm-hmm.
So when she threw the kick, I grabbed her thigh and like her leg, and picked her up and threw her up against the wall. When she kicked me, I just grabbed her and threw her. And they're like, "What did you do?" I said, "Because she hit me." I said, "I wasn't going to let her hit me again." "Well, how could you do that?" "Well, I did it to a guy 2 weeks ago. That's why I knew it would work."
Among the pillars of masculinity ideology are anti-femininity, achievement, eschewal of the appearance of weakness, and adventure, risk, and violence. It actually has a picture of Dirty Harry, and it says, Taciturn Clint Eastwood in Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry. Do not be like him, the American Psychological Association says.
Actually, I think he's a good role model.
Yes, he is.
And that means masculine boys devote their energy towards destructive behaviors like homophobia, bullying, and even sexual harassment. Instead, boys should be striving for academic excellence, the APA says. A lot of them do. It's called football. Though men benefit from patriarchy, they are also impinged upon patriarchy, says Ronald F. Levitt, EDD, a professor and terminus of psychology at the University of Akron, and the co-editor of the APA volume of Psychology of Men and Masculinities. So what to do? The APA says psychologists should address their own biases when treating boys and men, address how power, privilege, and sexism work both by conferring benefits to men and trapping them in narrow roles. I think it's just a crock of shit.
Yeah. I wasn't raised with any of that gender role nonsense in this house.
It has a picture of John Wayne, one of the best role models. Late movie legend John Wayne spent decades playing tough, stoic, silent types. That is not good, says the American Psychological Association. Well, if they knew if they actually watched footage of him off camera, he was a fucking gentleman.
Yeah. He was also very anti-communist and very, very patriotic. That's probably the other reason that they targeted him. He's the one that actually got them to go after Hollywood.
And what these... Okay, the APA, let me tell y'all something. Y'all are a bunch of fucking quacks, okay? That's it. Y'all a bunch of quacks, okay? Secondly, John Wayne was playing a character.
Mm-hmm.
A fictional character that does not represent who he is in real life. Well, that's where they get confused.
The thing about these far leftists and acting is that there's no such thing as acting when, like, you have to be a tranny to play a tranny, you have to be gay to be gay, you have to be stuck in a wheelchair to play a man stuck in a wheelchair.
Yeah, it's like...
I don't like Bryan Cranston, but that was some ridiculous nonsense.
Yeah,
That really is.
they were talking about how like he's stealing the role from someone who's actually quadriplegic, and I'm just thinking, is this actor that they're referring to once play as Superman?
Hmm. Yeah, right. They'll use CGI for him, I guess.
Well, it's like when Scarlett Johansson was playing uh, the mobster who was born female and transitioned into a male.
Yeah, and they
Okay.
changed that
Yeah,
too. They didn't
she
want her in
quit.
there.
Oh no, there's been an update on that. The movie's been canceled.
They
You
also
know,
tried to go after Ruby Rose for playing a lesbian comic book character Batwoman.
For not being gay enough.
Yeah, and Ruby Rose is bisexual.
and according to my gay doctor, I have the same hair as her.
Ruby
That's a
Rose is
compliment.
hot. She's
Yes, she is.
perfect for Batwoman, and everyone can go suck a big fat donkey dick.
Absolutely.
She's not my type, but she does have good hair.
Punisher creator calls out law enforcement's misuse of Punisher symbol. Punisher creator and Gwen Stacy killer Gary Conway had an interview with Sci-Fi Wire recently, in which he spoke about his 50-plus year career as a comic book writer. Two of the questions concerning the Punisher got into the topic of his version of the character and the way the skull symbol has been appropriated by law enforcement officials. Of the character's origins, he explained, it was simpler. It was a simpler time in the 70s. You had very black and white canvas on which to draw and write. The storylines didn't go into psychological depths of these characters. Mostly we worked in broad strokes. Today, though, given what we know about PTSD, what we understand about how soldiers are affected, our ongoing multi-generational war in Afghanistan, a character like the Punisher can speak to something that's important for us to come to grips with as writers and artists. He also applauded the way that the Netflix series captured that for modern audience. One of the things the series was praised for by the Mary Sue and others was the way it explored Frank Castle's PTSD and trauma and worked to show that the brutality Frank displayed was indicative of his own brokenness, not some deeper righteousness. I've often mentioned that as someone who grew up watching westerns with my mom and also loved movies like Rambo and RoboCop, hells yeah, I don't inherently have anything against violent movies or media. I think playing violent video games and watching action movies can be cathartic, especially if you are, overall, a more peaceful person. The problem is when people take the violence of these media and turn it into symbols of masculinity, of righteousness, and ignore that these characters exist in a world where they can be justified. Trying to bring that into the real world is often where problems begin. Conway explained why it is so disconcerting for him to see the military and law enforcement wearing the Punisher symbol. I've talked about this in other interviews. To me, it's disturbing whenever I see authority figures embracing Punisher's iconography because the Punisher represents a failure of the justice system. He's supposed to indict the collapse of social moral authority and the reality some people can't depend on institutions like the police or military to act in just capable way. Frank Castle exists because of the police corruption and failure of government systems. So why is it assumed that simply because he himself is ex-military, he would automatically be on the side of those systems in real life? He would probably have more in common with protesters using any means necessary to fight for their lives than he would with the systems that would ask him to be passive and complacent in the face of injustice.
Okay, that's incorrect.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say one of the things that's specifically about Frank Castle. Two things. Frank Castle is actually anglicized. I'm pretty sure he's also a fellow Corleonean. His name is actually Francisco Castiglione. They anglicized it. Um, that's one of the things. It's a very big thing in the culture. They're very big on honor and honesty. Um, Part of the reason the mafia came to power was because of the dishonesty of the government. It was the people were trying to take back. That's what that was, and it got out of hand. So he comes from that world. That's one. Two, he's Catholic. He's Roman Catholic, and he's from Brooklyn. I'm just familiar with the culture, and I'm very familiar with the way the character was written. This is a guy where if he was surrounded by any means necessary, or Black Lives Matter, or Antifa. You see, the thing is this is a guy who is ex-Marine Corps recon from Vietnam, and he was in the program going after the NYPD. He was in the academy when his wife and kids got killed. This is somebody who, if he was confronted with Antifa, who their main thing is they're trying to overturn a legal election, he'd probably butcher them. And I'm not even saying that, like, trying to be wax creative here. He'd probably literally cut them the fuck apart with like an M60. This is not somebody who would take anything like that seriously. This is, like lightly rather. This is a man. The way that they have him written is his wife and children are dead and gone because rules were broken and things were done that should not have been done. This is a man whose rules matter to, who laws matter to. Antifa and BAM and Black Lives Matter are breaking the laws. This is a man who fought communists in Vietnam. I can honestly say, not only if the Punisher was real, would he deal with all of them in their own fashion. I'm guessing people like Michael Moore, the cast of The View, and possibly even some of our politicians, like right off the top of my head, I'd say that Ocasio-Cortez. These are all people that would probably be concerned with somebody like the Punisher, because the Punisher is the type who would go after a corrupt politician. He doesn't give a fuck. So,
What are they going to take away from him?
yeah, exactly. What are you going to take away from a man who has nothing to lose except the country he loves? And that's what you're trying to take away, is the man's country. This is a man in the comic books. Captain America has beaten the shit out of the Punisher on about 9 different occasions. And not for anything else, the Punisher would not lift a hand to fight back. Refuses to strike Captain America. That's that's a trivia thing a lot of people don't realize. He won't fight back. Whenever Captain America beats the shit out of him, he won't fight him. He refuses to.
That's because Captain America stands for everything he believes in.
Yes, the Punisher is one of the most diehard jingoists you're ever going to encounter. This is a guy where if you tried to burn a flag in front of him, he would douse you with the gas, and he would use the flag to light you. This is the type of guy that he is. So this is a lot of leftist reaching and a lot of leftist nonsense. And again, you have to remember, leftists they tend to be creeps, they tend to be perverts, and they tend to be degenerates. So anything a leftist says to you, you have to be careful, because they tend to be liars and sneak thieves. So they'll tell you the truth sometimes just to get you to not believe it. So you have to be careful. You have to always weigh anything a leftist says with both hands. Okay, this could be the truth, and they could be telling it to me because they know that I know they're a leftist and they're a lying scumbag, so I'll just disregard it. Or they're a lying leftist scumbag, so it's not true. You just have to check anything that they say. But you asked me, so I gave it to you straight. They're lying leftists. Punisher would never do that.
All right. We know that because that's what the Punisher does. Mm-hmm. Being a veteran, a soldier, or a police officer is not a monolithic experience. And Netflix's Punisher himself, John Barthenol, has pushed back against that mentality in interviews, like the one he did with Collider. leading up to the second season of Punisher. This is getting long. Oh, I'm almost done. As far as I'm concerned, I think for so long now, we've really gone through this thing in this country where a certain element has a stronghold and monopoly on what it means to be strong or tough or masculine or patriotic, or for that matter. For me, the great joy that I have in playing this role and other roles is where I got to pick soldiers and combat vets and the guys that share their stories with me. To me, the mark of somebody who is strong, patriotic, tough is someone who has an open mind, someone who is open to listening to all sides and not be steadfast and not be completely clinging to their own sense of this is what is right and this is what is wrong. As the issues of gun control, police brutality, and criminal justice rage on, characters like the Punisher, Judge Dredd, and to a lesser degree, Batman, will always come up as cultural reference points because these are people who want law enforcement to be like those characters, while others see them as representing what happens when the justice is too broken to care for its people. Oh, that was long.
Well, like I said, it's more reaching on their part. I just
Miami
love how they.
Huh?
No, I was going to bitch some more about how they're trying to change everything again.
Yeah. Miami Beach cops use tethered blimp for surveillance to get around drone ban.
Of course they did. Fucking Florida.
So this one you're gonna like.
Oh, I got it pulled up.
Shit. She interrupted me because she knows what it's about.
Do what?
I think you interrupted me on purpose.
No. Just I promise you, if I see a drone in my backyard and I'm taking a sun bath completely nude, that drone's getting shot down. The state of Florida passed a law in 2015 banning the use of drones to monitor citizens from the air. But police in Miami Beach, Florida have come up with a clever workaround. They're using a tethered blimp called an aerostat for crowd surveillance, and they argue that it's not a drone. The Miami New Times reports that Miami Beach PD started testing different surveillance methods to get around the ban on Memorial Day weekend 2017, as well as spring break and Halloween of last year. But it was only recently that the department purchased a tethered aerostat outright and used it to monitor an Orange Bowl party on December 28th. Miami Beach City Manager Jimmy Morales wrote a letter to the City Commission last week explaining why the blimp didn't violate the law. Due to the legal restrictions placed on police departments under Florida law and because of a limited battery life and flight time, unmanned aerial vehicles, aka drones, are not a current option for Miami Beach Police Department to monitor crowds from the air at large gatherings and at major events, says Morales. Morales reportedly cited terrorism concerns and explained that this new smart tech and it's safe tech that we are using to keep folks safe during large events. The aerostat can't move around like a traditional hobby drone, but it gives police a high advantage point from which to deploy cameras and monitor anyone in the crowd. But it's not just the Miami Beach PD who are using aerostats on American soil. U.S. Customs and Border Protection use similar aerostats for surveillance and have been for years. The agency first developed its aerostats at the U.S.-Mexico border in 2013, according to the agency public affairs officer, who was contacted by Gizmodo in November when the Operation Faithful Patriot was first brought thousands of American troops to the border. Okay, it's not too long. There are currently 5 aerostats stationed at the Rio Grande Valley sector, the official told Gizmodo. They are not a part of Operation Secure Line and have been here for years. Operation Secure Line was a name that was adopted for Operation Faithful Patriot the day after the 2018 midterm elections. The agency declined to provide specs for the aerostats. Aerostats are often used in war zones and have become part of the landscape, as the New York Times article from 2012 explains. But war always comes home. The sensors, drones, and imagining technology that have been deployed onto the battlefields of Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria in the past 2 decades have found their way back to American shores and used on Americans. In fact, it was recently revealed that the CBP flew more drone missions in 2017 than it's ever flown in its history. It'd be surprising if they didn't just fly as many or more in 2018. And the local police department around the country are hungry for new ways to monitor citizens from above. The New York Police Department even has a fleet of drones for tactical operations now, which it most recently planned to use for monitoring crowds over New Year's Eve. Drones are probably coming to your local police department, whether you like it or not. The only question is whether states like Florida that have passed laws prohibiting the practice allow police to get away with calling their drones blimps.
It's no different. Okay, they're going to do away with drones or they can't have drones. What is the difference of having the pod cameras that can pick you up? It's got facial recognition software. So no matter where you go, there's pod cameras everywhere. That's no different than them having drones. If they're going to find you, they're going to find you.
Yeah, there's no difference.
Like, they are having these drones to monitor big crowds during, like, big parties and events and stuff. Like, they're there to save lives. It's not like an invasion of privacy. If you're not there doing nothing illegal, then you have nothing to worry about. But if it has another, like, say, if you're in Florida and you have a fucking Vegas shooting, you want to know these these drones could save lives. And, man, I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, it's a safety thing. And it's safety first.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just my
like
opinion.
I said before, if I'm in my backyard and I'm sunbathing and a drone comes over, I'm shooting it down.
Yeah. See, that's different. Like, that's probably a neighbor or somebody that's got a drone, or it could be, the police department.
I don't care.
That's different. Like, they should not be going around.
What
like
movie
that.
was it with Roy Scheider? Was it Blue Thunder? You just remember that movie?
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, you're gonna be like the rite of passage for the new pilots, Tara. They're gonna be sending the drones over there. Okay, we gotta take you over to check out Tara now.
Boom.
That's too funny.
Well, like, I had this neighbor, like, they finally moved out, but he had a damn drone, and he would always fly it up here, and just is always up on our property, just flying it all around. And I yelled down there, I said, if you don't want that damn thing shot down, I suggest you stop bringing it the fuck up here. What goes on this side of the fucking road is none of your fucking business. Oh, shut the fuck up, you stupid bitch. I was like, you think for 1 second I won't go in there and get the fucking shotgun? Like, I will shoot that bitch down. They finally moved out, but yeah, he would always fly his fucking drone up here, and you could always hear it. And it's like, don't worry about what goes on the side of the fucking road. Like, we've been down here since '82, way longer than you have. I just can't stand nosy fucking people.
Yeah. I was talking to the kid who cut my hair the other day. He lives over in Brooklyn. And he was bitching to me about how I got it good because I'm outside the city limits because I don't have to deal with the same shit as him. He said, I can park my car out here, leave it out here with no inspection, no this, no that. No one will touch it for 3 weeks. And I'm thinking to myself, you've probably never tried that. They'll get on top of you immediately. They're really good with that out here.
Mm-hmm.
But he says to me, he goes, they'll just tow you for the drop of a hat in the city. And I told him, I said, well, we used to own a towing service when I was in high school. We had the truck, we would use it in the winter. The old man always looked for like different things to do when he couldn't do his fishing gig. So in the winter, we would get dragged onto oil trucks and tow trucks and whatever other cockamamie thing him and my brother cooked up. So we had a tow truck for a couple of seasons. And I know this because my brother was a bastard. And the thing is, in New York City, they don't look to see if the car is even illegal at all. They just pay you immediately. So my brother he would watch somebody park their car and he would go tow it. Like he was a real douchebag like that. And what would happen was the city would have to give these people their car for free, and they'd actually have to give them reimbursement and restitution and shit. You couldn't really take them to court over it because the city had that sort of a policy where, oh, look, it just got towed. And the driver would get a thing where, like they put it in the book, like, okay, this guy is, like he's bringing in things, you got to check his paperwork. They never checked my brother's paperwork. He knew everybody. As I remember one time, like, let's say they gave, just to throw out a number, because I don't remember. Let's say they gave you $50 per car. My father left my brother in charge of this shit. By the end of the week, my brother had something like $7,000 on him.
Damn.
I asked him, I said, what the fuck were you doing? He told me, he said, I got so fucking delirious with it. He's like, I went over to Shea and I started hooking people while they were at the fucking Mets game.
Oh, God.
I'm like, you're a scumbag. He's like, oh, yeah, you better believe it. He said, and thank God that the Brady law was in effect by then, because if anyone was still carrying, I would have got shot.
Damn.
Can you imagine, now think about this, where you live, and then you cross over into like you cross literally the line into another place, but now you're in a different area. And so like it's literally for me to drive like 20 minutes, I'm in Queens, I'm in the New York City limits that close away. So it's not like, it's going to a foreign planet. And the point is, picture you're going to the supermarket, but because of where you live, you go to the supermarket, you come out, your car is just gone. And you start calling the police saying your car is stolen, and the police run everything. No, your car got impounded. Why did my car get impounded? I was at Stop and Shop. Were you parked illegally? No. All right, just come pick up your car. That's literally what they would tell them. You got to fill out the paperwork. It's a formality. You got to go to court and prove that it wasn't parked illegally, that sort of shit. He didn't care anyway. My brother, that's part of the reason, they kept saying to me, like, that moronic frog and his fucking furry minions, they were going on and on about like how I said I didn't particularly care for my brother. They immediately, I don't know what the fuck it is with everyone on the internet. The minute you say you don't like somebody, that they, they were abusive towards you. Oh, well, he was sticking his hand up your ass. No, the guy was abusive to me. I meant he was a scumbag. He was going and towing people's cars that, like were not illegal. He'd call me into the room. He'd be like, come in here. I got to show you something. I come in. What is it? And he'd erase all my Legend of Zelda things in front of me. Like, yeah, this is your Legend of Zelda shit, right? I go, yeah. Well, not no more. Goodbye. And he deleted it all because he thought it was
But that's
funny.
not what shit my dad would do.
Yeah, he would do shit. He would do shit like that to me. He told me that like when I was a kid because I liked the Ninja Turtles. He said the Ninja Turtles got bought by Don Bluth Studios and they're making it into a musical.
They did.
Right, but I'm just saying this is my brother. He thought shit like that was funny. Like when I was a kid, he was supposed to babysit me, and he calls up, yeah, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come watch him. Don't worry about it. And so. This is back when payphones were everywhere. So, okay, yeah. My father goes like, hey, your brother's coming down the block now. Okay, it's not like he left me like alone in the house. Like he was going to leave, but he just knew that my brother was coming home. So my brother came home. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I was about maybe 4 years old, maybe 5. He's wearing a fucking gorilla suit. His asshole chased me all over the yard, roaring.
You should get him to climb up the Empire State Building.
Yeah. No, we're not. We're outside of Manhattan, but I'm just saying, like, this is like people were saying to me when I said he was abusive. This guy used to fuck with me psychologically. He never touched me like, like diddling or anything. None of that weird. I love how the first thing when you say someone is abusive to you, that's a telltale sign when they're like, oh, show us on the doll where he touched you. No, you fucking perverts. Why is it always sex? Seriously. I don't I don't know. That shows you where our society's at now, where abuse may immediately like translates to like, oh, it had to be sexual. I if any one of you knows at this point from talking to me, and you probably know at this point, I got no problem speaking my mind.
Right.
If somebody had actually done something to me like in that nature, I'd have no problem saying it. I've said before when people have done me dirt. I got no problem with it. But it's just how he was. But that I went off on a tangent about my brother. What I was getting at though is that's how it works in the city. You can get away with murder there. Like not murder, but you can get away with, just yeah, I towed this car. What was wrong with it? It was over the line. Okay, cool. They don't give a shit. I seen meter maids give out tickets to cars that were legal. And they say the same thing. They shrug. It's already written. Take it up with the judge. They'll just throw it out. They don't care.
They have reported to me.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's part of the reason that our taxes are so damn high around here is because that city is not, there's nothing good about Manhattan. Manhattan, and unfortunately now the outer boroughs, they treat it the same way. Those cops really treat it like a machine. Now, this is nothing against the NYPD officer, the man and woman on the street. I've dealt with them many times. They are gentlemen and ladies. But the way that system is rigged in that city, holy shit. If you park your car in Manhattan, you're getting a ticket. I'm just warning you now, you're going to get a ticket. Oh, well, I'm parked legally. And I'm right, and I plug the meter. They don't give a fuck. You're getting a ticket. That's just how it works. You're getting a ticket. City. I was parked at I even went back into Lower Manhattan just to take the damn picture. I was that annoyed. I usually won't go and drive back to Manhattan like the same day if I just left. I don't like doing that. It's not even like it's that far. Like when I tell people I had to drive to Manhattan and drive back, oh, that's so horrible. How far away of a drive was it for you? 45 minutes? It's one of those things people are like, really? You complaining about that? But I was parked. No bus stop there. Nothing there, right? I got a ticket for parking at a bus stop. I went and took a picture of the sign. It was a historical bus stop that was there in like the 30s or some shit. And something had happened there. I don't know. Fuck, I guess that's where Ralph Cramden fucking first parked or whatever. But they had a sign marking where this historical bus stop was. So I got a bus stop ticket at a fucking historical landmark in the village. And I even called up and I complained to them. I said, how the hell? I said, what is with your department there? I said, you guys are looking for shit to make into landmarks? I got a fucking landmark bus stop that I got a ticket for. Guy goes like this. All right, well, at least now you have a story. I goes, what the hell is that supposed to mean? He says, okay, here's the deal. You can go kick around with it in the city. He's like, it'll get kicked up to Albany. Albany will kick it back down to the city, and they'll still want their money. He's like, I'm just telling you. He's like, look, I'd love to help you, but there's nothing I can do. He's like, I've been here 20 years. This is how it works.
Wow.
Sure enough, I got the ticket back over the summer. This ticket has been back and forth in the system now for 5 years. Yeah. Yeah, fucking a historical landmark of a bus stop.
And this is not an operational bus stop. It's just a historic landmark.
Yeah, at
Correct.
this site that was such and such bus stop that was in such and such. I'm sitting here reading thing like really. Well, I don't know. I guess it was like a famous bus stop that was in a scene from like North by Northwest or some shit. I don't
That's
know.
fucking crooked as fuck.
It is. It really is. They got all sorts of weird shit that they
But what
do
do you
around
expect?
here.
It's New York.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's true too.
You know, that's why I tell a lot of people. You know, like I had even said this when I was talking to that Matt Macon Fobbit on his show about the president. Like everyone was all up in arms because 2 years in a row he did this shit with Syria, and I'm making a prediction right now here on the air because I made it a few months ago. Well, no, if we were pulling the troops out of Syria, if we were still in Syria this April, I said he was going to do the same exact shit he did the last time. Because everyone said to me, why is it the first year he's in office, the first week in April, he bombed Syria out of nowhere using old tech at an abandoned uh, airfield? They said, and in his second year, the same exact thing, almost to the letter. He does the first or second week of April, uses old ordnance, and he bombs an old airfield. And I said, okay, I'll tell you exactly what that is. He's goosing the United Nations to do their job. See, the thing is, the United Nations did not want to give Bashar al-Assad any money to, to fight against who he was fighting against. They were giving him all sorts of shit and hemming and hawing. Now, this is the thing. A lot of people don't realize this. The United Nations has a default stance policy, which means if the United States, Russia, and I think there's one other country it used to be, but I'm pretty sure it's just United States and Russia at this point. If they do anything to your country, the United Nations almost automatically gives aid to that country by default. And Trump was aware of this. So what he did was he used our old weaponry, which was just obsolete shit we had lying around. He used old tomahawks, and he shot them at this abandoned, old, rundown, dilapidated base that was going to get torn down anyway. Bashar al-Assad made sure that he assigned, I guess, like his wife's cousins he didn't like and a few other morons that they had to get rid of because you needed to lose personnel in the attack for it to count. And they did the same trick in the first week of April and in the first week of April the year after it, because those are the beginning of the second fiscal quarter for the year. This literally what the man did, what Trump did was he tricked the United Nations into doing their fucking job. And what that is, I said it, like I said, I was on that Matt Macon Fobbit stream and I explained to him, I said, this is a basic New York hustle, what he did to them. You know, it's basically, it's a lot of it, like you'd see it, they'd lampoon it and they'd make jokes out of it in Looney Tunes, like with Bugs Bunny when he would do the trick, like, rabbit season, duck season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's basically the same concept. It's a rope-a-dope. It's really how things go down around here. Believe me, I tell you what, when you guys come out to visit, I'll take you to the San Gennaro Feast. I'll take you by the carnival section. You're going to get fleeced so fast, and they're not going to rip you off. They're going to literally do a straight con with you, and you're going to fall for it because these people are persuasive as hell. It's just we got the gift of gab here, and this is what the president did. The president actually tricked the United Nations into doing their job. And I said it, I think I was on stream last spring, and I said, if he does it again on, the third year in a row, I want him put on the, Mount Rushmore immediately because to me, it's brilliant. And it's that's the hustle that we got going here. It's like Carol was saying, it's this city and this state, the shit that they can find to hustle. My God, they should really change the name of the city from New York to Hustle. Because really, that's what Manhattan is good for. My brother-in-law, he actually, when he was in business, what he used to do was he would sell tickets. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, what was he, a scalper?" No, scalping's illegal. He would sell tickets, and I go, "Well, it wasn't the tickets. What he would do is this." He'd stand out in front of like Radio City Music Hall and he'd go like this, "Ladies and gentlemen," and he'd hold up a big pen, plain, regular, like white pen with a black cap full of blue ink. You buy like 10 of them for $1. He'd stand out in front of Radio City Music Hall or Madison Square Garden, wherever the hell it was, and he'd go like this: "Ladies and gentlemen, I have right now for sale this this ballpoint pen, this amazing production of American science and industry and technology. It writes, it fits in your pocket, and he'd give this whole spiel, and he'd say, "You can have this pen right now for $5,000 cash, and if you act right now, I'll throw in 2 front row tickets to Barbara Streisand for free." He didn't scalp the tickets. He just sold you a pen,
Mm-hmm.
and it's perfectly legal. That's why I love living here.
There's a will, there's a way.
We have loopholes in the verbosity of the law, and depending on like what choice of words you use, how hyperbolic you can be, you can pretty much get away with anything this side of murder. And you guys, you have to realize you have the 4-ton commander in chief. You guys don't know how lucky this country is that we got him in that office right now. And you know, Tara, I understand you don't like the man for the type of person he is, his personality, whatever the reason is. But understand these are virtues right now this country needs, because we have evil people in there, but they got no hustle. And our president is all game. He's rope-a-doping them. You seen how they had American Gothic do that response last night to him doing the address from the Oval Office? They really did look like American Gothic, Chuck and Nancy.
Fucking Skeletor. Nancy Pelosi
Yeah.
is Skeletor. And
You know,
but you know what? This is the thing about those two.
They look so creepy.
That too. Fucking Chuck and Nancy were for building the wall before President Trump got even into office. They were for the wall. And now all of a sudden, oh, no, we're not going to do it. It's like, man, I can't stand neither one of them.
They look like the American Gothic painting.
That's the painting where the old man and the old lady standing
Yeah,
over
the farmers.
Mm-hmm. Somebody did do that. I did make a meme of them and put their face on it. And it looks so creepy. Oh,
yeah,
God.
it does.
Someone also did a face swap on them.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh. I can't stand. As long as she's been in office, I can never stand her. I can't. Neither him. Like, they are as crooked as a bent back paperclip.
This is why I don't watch the news. It's too depressing, and I don't care. That people tell me, oh, you should care. It tells you about the world. Why the fuck should I care outside of my country? As long as we're not being attacked, bombed, or killing each other, I don't care.
A lot of people are saying too that we build the wall, that they're gonna like basically lock us in, and they're gonna introduce martial law. What do y'all think about that?
Number one, we're not getting locked in. Number two.
Wait, what's happening with martial law?
Ooh, American Celt.
Huh?
What's happening with martial law?
They're saying that once we get the wall built, that they're going to basically lock us in, and the president's going to introduce martial law.
Lock us in what?
In our own country. They're going to set up FEMA camps. They're going to all that. They're going to lock us in. We can't leave our country or anything.
Yeah, I guess that means that once they build that wall, they're going to come over here and they're going to burn down all of our boats. You know, I mean, hell, over at Republic Airport, they're probably going to have to cut the wings off all those planes too.
Or just create a runway.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, these people really have to think about what they're saying.
Well,
I mean,
not only that, they seem to think that the president can declare martial law for any reason.
yeah.
And he can't. Congress has to agree with said reason.
You know, I was talking to this black guy I ran into at the train station about a month ago now. And he came up and he seen the flag on my cane and he decided to start talking to me. And he's going on about, you know, how Trump's wiling out. I go, how the fuck is he wiling out? I told him, I said, look, before you even open your mouth, if you're going to give me that shtick about him being racist, I understand. He looks like a grown up version of the little Dutch boy, and it sticks in your craw. Fine, whatever. He looks like an old Ken doll. I got the concept. You don't like Whitey. His eyes got huge when I said that to him. But you know what? I don't particularly give a flying fuck about these people with their strange shit that they got rolling around in their head. You know, you got to sit there and have a problem with the guy because, you know, he just happens to look like the whitest man that we've had in office in a while. Okay, fine, whatever. We had a black nerd and he nearly destroyed the country. So, fuck it. I'll go with the Germanic descended businessman. The fuck do I care what the guy's heritage is? Seriously, I don't give a shit. I do not give a shit if we got a guy who's, you know, an authentic samurai with the fucking rice sandals and the friggin' kimono on. Is he going to balance the budget and he's going to take care of the country? That's fine. I'll vote for an Indian guy. I don't care. It don't matter to me. He could be up there with his fucking turban on. More power to him. You know, it's the stupidest shit when these people come at you with this race politics, identity politics, gender, this and then that. Who fucking cares? Are they American? Do they pay taxes? Do they love this country? Are they going to do right by it? Are they going to say what I say when people say, well, we have to tear down these statues? My response to them is this. Statues are put there for a reason. It's kind of like when you fuck something up when you're a kid and your parents hang it on the fridge so you got to see it, so you remember the mistake you made. The reason I was told those statues were there, to remind the South you fucked up. That's what that was for. That's the way I was always taught. I was taught that the statues were there for two reasons. To honor the dead soldiers who were defending their home from an invading force from the north. That's the first part of it. And the second part of it was to also remind the South of the fact that they fired the first volley. That's all that was meant by it. It was not supposed to be some celebration of white oppression and black servitude and whatever crazy shit these fucking kids got rolling around in their heads. Because I'm gonna be 40. The past 5-6 years, this is the first I'm hearing it. It's crazy. You know what? I'm giving too much credit. The past 2 years is the first I've ever heard of this crazy shit with the statues.
What about the statues?
I never heard word about them complaining about these fucking statues that they're knocking them over and tearing them down.
Oh yeah, they've been doing that for about a year now.
That's what I'm saying, but you never heard word of it. You've lived in Florida your whole life. You remember in your childhood all the protests by the statues? No. Because no one gave a fuck. Yeah.
They still don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
The only thing we have an issue with, which is a legitimate reason, is the fact that over in Cross City, the courthouse has a thing of the Ten Commandments on the courthouse property.
Bless you.
And the people, you know, a lot of the people want it removed.
Yeah, because they're idiots. I'll tell you why. It's not a religious reason before you say it. 10 Commandments are 10 laws. They're the first 10 laws according to Judeo-Christian religion. I understand the Code of Hammurabi. We can sit here and we can rehash history, but that's the reason they put the 10 Commandments there. That's the basis for law.
No, it was donated by a very religious person. That's why they're there.
I'm sure, but that's the reason that these places accept them. Because we had this same thing. And I talked to this guy, and this guy was a judge, and he was humorless. And he's telling this to these people, and they go like this to him. Like, well, this is because of your personal belief, and without even missing a beat. I don't believe in any God. Guy was an atheist. But that's the thing. Like, that's the main reason that they got the 10 Commandments out there. Is that's apparently the oldest written law we have. But then again, they came around with the Code of Hammurabi, like, oh, this predates it by about 5,000 years, and we actually still have those clay tablets. But I've always said the same thing. I said, if we're gonna put the Ten Commandments up there, put the Code of Hammurabi also. Seriously, have both of them. I would have no problem, but they have the problem with Sharia law, because I was going to say, you look at some of the laws the Persians had at the time, they were groundbreaking.
Irving's in the chat. Hail Sigmar!
What up, Irv?
Hey, Irv.
Irv, I sent you a link. Hop on.
Did you say perv?
Irving.
No, I'm at
That's
Scooby.
cool.
What?
Sounded like he said perv instead of Irv.
Oh, I got a matchstick in my teeth. I might have.
Well, it said that because Irving likes 15-year-old scotch and whiskey and shit like that he's a pedophile, so I don't know. Because he has an old stream that's titled, I Love 15-Year-Olds, and he's talking about alcohol.
Yeah. I'll let the guy do his clickbait if he wants. I like that. I seen that title. I'm like, what the hell is it?
Like that Michael Jackson joke. He likes 38-year-olds.
Why? Because of how much the kids add up to?
No, he likes 8-year-olds, but 30 of them.
I figured it was just like cumulative. It's what their ages added up to.
No. The best joke I like is, what did Michael Jackson and Walmart have in common?
They have little boys' pants half off.
Yep. It can also be said, what do priests and Walmart have in common?
That's like that horrible joke. Like when Kurt Cobain killed himself, what was the last thing that flashed through his mind?
The muzzle?
No, his teeth.
God.
Oh, God.
My stepdad used to say, what's the last thing that goes through a bug's head when it hits the windshield? It's asshole.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of asshole, Florida man says, huh?
I said, you spoke to your mother?
No. Florida man story. Florida man says 3 syringes found up his ass aren't his.
What?
I love Florida. Such a beautiful state.
I'm leaving. I'm fucking leaving the state. I seriously am. I'm going to where
I
it's
want to move
nice.
to your state.
I don't care what you want. I'm
Your
moving
state
to
is
where
awesome.
it's nice and cold, and I don't get picked on.
You moving to New York? Why would you want to move here?
No, fucking Chicago.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
Move to New York.
No, I'm moving with my pudding.
I mean, you're going from dodging Florida man stories to dodging bullets. I think
I'd rather
Florida man
dodge
story.
bullets. Seriously, I would rather dodge a bullet.
Oh, my pillow came today that I
Yay!
bought. I love it. It's so beautiful.
Cool.
Awesomeness. Irving says, joined my haters, has he? What the fuck? I have no idea what you're talking about, Irving.
Oh, hello, guy.
It's a Jeff Goldblum.
Hello.
Where are you?
The lights are off.
What's up?
Nothing.
He must have the camera covered up or something.
Oh, yeah,
He's streaming to us from inside Plato's cave.
Oh my god.
He's naked.
What's that?
I said you must be naked.
Oh, does my thing not? Oh, you know why? Because my camera is on, but my camera's not plugged in. There you go. How's that? Better?
Much better.
Now it's just your avatar now.
I'd much rather see you. I like seeing the Jeff Goldblum. I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, no.
You're naked, aren't you?
No, I'm wearing a shirt with my name on it. It's even worse. Oh, and I just got to say, you guys butchered that joke.
Which one?
What's the best part? What's the best part of having sex with 23-year-olds? There's 20 of them.
I wasn't telling the joke.
Well,
God.
I heard it as a Michael Jackson joke. It's like, what does Michael Jackson do? 38-year-olds.
You know, I'm trying to think of some of the jokes I know, but unfortunately, I don't know anything that I could actually say on air that won't get us get the stream killed.
Yeah, some of my jokes, even though they're pretty racist, but I've told them to black guys and black women, and they've laughed their asses off just at the joke. But I don't want to get my brother's stream killed.
Oh, you got to remember, when I used to DM, the guys who I was DMing for were stand-up comedians, disc jockeys, and comic strip artists. So, holy shit, what used to come out of that table. I mean, some of the jokes I heard, hey, Irv.
Yo.
Why is it easier to unload a truckload of dead babies than it is to unload a truckload of bricks?
Because with babies, you can use a pitchfork.
Exactly.
What's worse than finding?
I know every one of these jokes. I know every one of those.
I've got one. What's worse than finding 10 dead babies in a trash can?
What?
One dead baby in 10 trash cans.
Yep.
I know them all.
How can you tell when you're in a tough lesbian bar?
I don't know.
Even the pool table doesn't have any balls.
I want to die peacefully in my sleep like my grandmother, not screaming and yelling like the passengers in her car.
Oh, God.
I'm trying to
Speaking of cars, there was a car wreck here in Gainesville that involved Gainesville Fire and Rescue extracted a driver from a car Wednesday after a 3-vehicle crash involving a semi. Firefighters said they responded in about 4 minutes to the 1 p.m. crash at Northwest 23rd and North Main Street. They said they found the driver trapped inside the car and it was heavily damaged by a tractor trailer. Firefighters say they extracted the driver about 8 minutes after starting the process. They say the conscious patient was taken to the hospital. Everyone else involved declined treatment.
Hope that everyone's okay.
Well, I know the intersection that they're talking about. There was also a really bad crash on I-75. And the dog's acting like it needs to go out, but I've already taken him.
Oh,
a little pooch.
Yeah, he's sitting over here whining at me.
Yeah.
I'm a dog lover. I can't help it. I call him a little pooch. Hey, Kelt, I got a joke for you. What do you call a gay guy with a fetish for hemorrhoids?
Oh, God.
What?
A pile driver.
I don't get it.
Wow, okay, I'm not explaining that one. Piles is an old term for hemorrhoids.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a term you'd hear, like, instead of saying you had hemorrhoids, you'd hear them call it piles. I don't know why. But, yeah, that's an old-timer joke. All right. I got one that's nice and racist for you. When you go to the airport, how can you tell which planes are the Alitalia flights?
Wait, what?
When you go to the airport, how can you tell which airlines are the Alitalia flights?
How?
Those are the planes with the hair under the wings.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Italian people are known for being very hairy.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're like all natural and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really hairy.
What do you call a gay guy on in a wheelchair?
But
Rolade.
let me see. It was what do you, what do you
What
call
do
a
you-
bouncer at a gay bar?
I don't know.
He's a flamethrower. I think. Oh God, there's so many
What do you call a
different.
black prostitute?
What's that?
A black and decker pecker wecker.
Nice.
I got one for you. You know why black people walk with a limp?
Why?
You know, like the pimp limp? Because you put your hands up above your head, they're tired of walking like this. Like a monkey.
Let me think. Oh, hey, Irv.
Yo.
Why do Mexicans drive lowriders?
Shit. Something about picking lettuce.
So they can cruise and pick lettuce at the same time.
Yeah, okay.
What does a black kid get for Christmas?
My bike.
Yep. Let me see.
That actually happened around here.
Yeah. How do you lower the property value in a poor black neighborhood?
How?
You start moving in working class Irish families.
Oh, yeah.
How can you tell when a Sicilian's robbed your house?
I don't know.
There's half-eaten garbage all over your floor and your dog's pregnant. Why do Arabs carry camel shit in their pocket? Why do Arabs carry 2 lumps of camel shit in their pocket?
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
You have to have 2 forms of ID on you at all times.
I'd get one.
Oh.
My sister told me that because her husband was an Arab, and he's the one that told me the Sicilian joke.
Hey, Scooby.
Yo,
Why are dark jokes like kids with cancer?
why?
They never get old.
Oh, God. Let me think. Oh God, I know so many horrible, horrible jokes. I'm trying to keep it tame. Oh, I got one for you.
I'll be
Why?
back. I gotta go walk the dog.
Mhm. Hey, Irv,
Yes?
why are synagogues round?
No idea.
So when they pass around the collection plate, the Jews can't go hide in the corner.
Ah. All right.
How do you circumcise a redneck?
Kick his
Oh,
sister
God.
in the jaw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm going to
God.
circle back to babies here. Hold on. How do you get a baby in a mason jar?
How?
Blender. How do you get it out again? Nachos.
Oh, that's so horrific.
I've got one
Yeah.
I might have to put into the chat or the Discord. Because that would probably nuke the stream.
Oh yeah, you gotta hear the shit that I know. I'll tell you after we're off. Because one of it also part of the joke is I can't have the mask on because there's some pantomime involved, but it's funny. I'm trying to think of stuff that's actually I can say on the air.
In the Discord now.
Let's see. Yeah, that reminds me of another joke, but I'm not gonna say that one on the air. Oh God, what can I say nowadays, especially with today's political climate?
Oh, here's one. Why can't you fool an aborted fetus?
Why?
It wasn't born yesterday.
Oh God. I think. I knew so many jokes. Oh God. There's these two guys standing on the side of the building. White guy and a Puerto Rican. And the white guy turns to the Puerto Rican and goes like this. He goes, "Man, you're not going to believe the updrafts on this side of the building at this time of day." So the Puerto Rican guy goes, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "The updraft's a killer on this side of the building." He's like, "Watch, I'll show you." So the white guy jumps off the side of the building, goes sailing down towards the sidewalk, slows down, and right before he touches the ground, all of a sudden he starts floating back up and he lands right on the side of the building. He said, "You see?" And so the Puerto Rican guy looks at him. He's like, "You got to be kidding me." He's like, "Go ahead, try it." So Puerto Rican guy backs up, takes a running start, takes a flying leap, and boom, splatters on the sidewalk. There's two cops standing over by this hot dog stand. They watched it happen. They look up on the side of the building, and one cop shakes his head, looks at the other cop, goes, "Jesus, that Clark Kent really hates Puerto Ricans." Figured you like that.
Oh my God. Oh, that's fucking terrible.
It is. It truly is. Oh God. A Puerto Rican friend of mine actually told me that. Like, that's something you're gonna run into a lot here. You'll have people of a certain walk of life tell you a joke, and it'll be about, like, you'll have a black guy tell you horrible black people jokes, especially if he finds out you're like one of these liberals, because he wants to trigger you. Like, that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize working class New Yorkers are some of the world's biggest trolls. They don't know what a troll is, but they love fucking with people. That's why when I first came on here, people are like, "You're a troll." I'm like, "I don't know, what's a troll?" And they explained it to me. I'm like, "Oh, you mean an asshole? Yeah, I can do that. I do it all day for free." You know? Like, ooh, I just thought of a really good joke.
Pedophiles are fucking immature assholes.
Hmm?
She got it. I said pedophiles are fucking immature assholes.
Yeah. Oh God. So bus driver's driving his bus down the block, right? He pulls up to the bus stop. Guy goes to get on the bus. Bus driver goes like this to him. All the black guys to the back of the bus. Closes door, drives up to the next bus stop, opens the door, guys goes to get on. All black guys to the back of the bus. Drives to the next stop, opens the doors, guys goes to get on. All the black guys to the back of the bus. Closes the door, goes to the next stop, guy goes to get on. All the black guys to the back of the bus. Guy goes like this to him. "Excuse me, I'm not black, I'm Italian." Bus driver slams it into stop. "Okay, buddy, get the fuck off of my bus."
That's funny.
Yeah. I told that to this black drug dealer I knew. I thought he was going to shoot me before I got to the punchline. You got to kick out of it, though. That's all that matters. Damn, it's midnight by me already.
Yeah, same here.
Yep.
Baby brother, do you want to do outros or what?
How to do an outro?
You look at your hangout and just call the first person you want and continue down the line until we've all given our outros.
Okay. Irving, anything you want to shill?
Who?
You, Irving.
Hey, thanks. No, I'm
Yep,
roboting.
Twin.
Yeah, I'm Irving Twin. I haven't posted a proper video in some time now, so don't bother following. But occasionally I do live streams and get drunk and make fun of stuff. Thanks for having me, man.
You're welcome. Dick Doxer.
Cut the queen part.
I'm Queenie the Dick Doxer, aka Queen of the South. You can find me here on YouTube, and you can find me on Discord.
All right. Don Scooby.
What's going on? I'm Scooby331. You guys know the deal. You can follow me here on YouTube. I am on Minds.com, Gab AI, Patreon, and PayPal. I'm still trying to get some equipment together, so if you guys feel like throwing anything towards the PayPal, I'd really appreciate it. I have an Instagram. I was actually screwing around with the thing earlier. I still have no idea how to use it, but I actually logged on today, which was a good. That's a first in a few months. So, yeah, Instagram I don't know how to use. Apparently Tumblr was just for pornography and they nuked it, so I never bothered with one of them, so I don't got one of them. Yeah. Your best bet, if you need to get in touch with me and it's urgent, try me on Gab, try me on Discord, or just hit up one of these folks, because I'll be honest, I don't do social media really. I'm an old school journalist. But that brings me to what I'm getting at. I'm going to probably be going in the next week or two. I've been really busy. The last 2 weeks of the year and the first 2 weeks of the new year are busy as hell for me. But I'm gonna be trying to go in and cut some videos, so that's what I wanted to mention. I live here. I have no idea what the fuck you guys want to see. So if anyone has anything they want to see, ask me. I'll film it. If it's something that costs money, you're gonna obviously throw me the money for it in PayPal. You want me to go see Cats or something? You know, I don't even know if that's still playing.
Nope.
You want me to go see a play? Buy me the damn ticket. I'll go see the play. I'll go sit through the thing. I don't want to sit through it. I'll do it for you. You know what I'm saying? Anyone? So yeah, anyone wants me to do that in a video? Hit me up. I'll go film a video. You gotta cover the expenses for it. But yeah, that's what I got cooking.
All right. Florida woman.
Fuck off, Alabama man.
Yeah.
You who has a land whale for a mother. I'm Harrison, your favorite cyber bitch. You can find me on pretty much any social media. Hopefully soon I'll be putting out some videos, including my Eagle video, which Burnside was supposed to do, and he's still in deep shit for. That's pretty much it.
And I'm American Kill. You can find me on Twitter and Discord on the same call sign. That's about it. Well,
Very cool.